want to wave my dick in your kid's face. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's keep it on Christianity. These Satanists, and they're dressing up Jesus as gay and all this stuff. Like, how can you have a Christian country where the prophets of the religion are mocked to the highest possible levels within the confines of the country, and it's promoted? That's not the point of the religion. So then you extrapolate that out, and I was sitting and thinking, well, what's the primary function of a religion? Opposing its differing viewpoints. It's the most successful in regards to having people act within the limits and the confines of what it finds to be moral and good to God. So the closer I found myself to God, the closer I found myself to Islam. That's just how it ended.
Baru-baru ini, Andrew Tate kedatangan petrikbait David, seorang Valuetainment yang memiliki hampir 5 juta pengikut di kanal YouTube miliknya. Mereka duduk bersama saat Tate menjadi tahanan rumah di Rumania. Mereka membahas tentang perpindahan agama Andrew Tate selama 4 tahun ini. Dalam video klip pendek ini, kami mencatat setidaknya Andrew Tate mengungkap 4 hal yang membuat ia memilih Islam. Yang pertama, Andrew Tate menganggap Islam adalah agama yang paling sukses melindungi umatnya dari kemaksiatan.
Raised Christian. I live in a Christian nation. Romania is actually, I think, the second or third most Christian country on earth. It's a very Christian country here. It's churches everywhere. They strongly believe. And that's where I began my journey, but I always had a very healthy respect for Islam because I understand that to a degree, to have a religion at all, you have to have an intolerance to a degree. Because without an intolerance, you don't have rules. You don't have laws. You don't have any, like you said, you have to earn God's respect. If you're a religion which is tolerant of everything, then you don't have to earn God's respect. You can be a bad person and do bad things. God loves me, so it's fine. Well, no, it's not, because that's not the point of the religion. So then you extrapolate that out, and I was sitting and thinking, well, what's the primary function of a religion? And the primary function of a religion, I don't believe is the religion exists so I can live forever. I mean, that's a nice thought. But I think on a macro level, the primary objective of a religion is to restore and contain some degree of traditional value within the society. How do you judge, let me change the way I worded that. How do you judge the success of a religion? I don't think you can judge it by the number of people who join it, because there's lots of people who are Catholic who don't act Catholic. They don't act in any way particularly Christian. Anyone can say they're something. You can walk into a strip club and everyone says they're Christian. It doesn't mean anything, right? So how do you judge the success of a religion? Well, I like to think the best way to judge the success of a religion is how successful is it at fighting evil? How successful is it at preserving the morality of a population in X parameter, in X geographical area? So when you look at it from that way, you can't say that Islam isn't the most successful religion on earth. It's the most successful in regards to opposing evil. It's the most successful in regards to opposing its differing viewpoints. It's the most successful in regards to having people act within the limits and the confines of what it finds to be moral and good to God. It's the most adhered to. It's the most feared. It's the most respected in most forms.
Yang kedua, ia menganggap Islam adalah agama paling simpel dan paling mirip dengan kepribadiannya.
I just found myself as I became more and more religious, seeking and looking for a faith which not only I could be proud of, but a faith which was guiding in regards to, I don't know what a Christian would answer to certain questions nowadays. What does a Christian answer to, I'm a transsexual and I want to show your kids my genitals? What's a Christian? Well, a Christian's supposed to say no, do they? I know what my Muslim friends would say. I don't know. If you're a Christian, I don't know how you're supposed to act. I don't know what you're supposed to adult. I don't get it anymore.
The true believer says
the true believer.
The
true believer.
Yeah.
But how many are true believers? I don't know. I see all over Twitter, all these churches are losing their minds. It seems very complicated. Islam seems very, very simple. You know what's right. You know what's. And also, I heard someone say once that we see the world as we see ourselves. If you're a thief, you think everyone's a thief. If you're a liar, you think everyone's a liar. And I kind of agree with that. I understood that. I also like to think we see religion as we see ourselves. I like to see myself as a person whose respect you have to earn. I like to see myself as a person who has strong, rigid boundaries. I like to see myself as a person who will stand up and say, no, that's wrong. I like to see myself as a person who's not afraid of being shamed by whatever community for saying, I don't agree with that particular ideal. I like seeing myself that way. So if I'm going to see myself that way, then I'm going to naturally align with a religion that operates within that form. So when I say Islam is the last religion on earth, I say it because it seems to be the only one who will stand up and say, no. We don't care. No. That's not what the book says. No. I was raised Christian, and Muslims as a whole, we have no problems with Christians. None at all. I don't want anyone to think I'm anti-Christian, like I dislike Christians. We don't have a problem with Christians. We believe in a lot of the same things. We believe in Jesus. We put more respect on the name of Jesus than most Christians do. I just don't like the idea of people saying they're a Christian and saying, but because I'm a Christian, I can do whatever I want and throw all the rules away and none of it matters. Because once you have that level of tolerance, you no longer have a religion. Islam seems to be the last religion left with parameters. If you don't have parameters, you don't have a religion at all. So the closer I found myself to God, the closer I found myself to Islam. That's just how it ended.
Yang ketiga, Tate menganggap hanya Islamlah agama paling membelah Tuhan dan utusannya.
When I was younger, especially when I was an atheist, I would sit and think, people are really doing terror attacks and doing all this crazy stuff because, they're upset over a cartoon. That's so stupid. And nobody should kill anybody. Nobody should kill anybody.
Charlie Hebdo, everything.
Yeah, nobody should kill anybody. Nobody should kill anybody. I'll make that very clear. But also part of me is now saying, why would you want to insult the prophet for billions of people? Why would you want to do that? I don't even want to make the argument against free speech. I'm not even saying you couldn't be allowed to. This is a sensitive subject. I'm just saying, what kind of person wakes up and thinks, I want to do that? I don't know. I just don't think that's a healthy mindset. Like when I see these Satanists, and they're, especially in America, and they're doing, let's keep it on Christianity, these Satanists, and they're dressing up Jesus as gay and all this stuff, like, that's not done in any kind of good faith. There's no good reason to do that. That's done with genuinely malicious intention. And what kind of people want to do that? And then the answer by extension is, I thought America was a Christian country. So how can you have a Christian country where the prophets of the religion are mocked to the highest possible levels within the confines of the country and it's promoted? Is that a Christian country? Doesn't seem like a Christian country to me. I don't think the same thing would happen with Islam in Saudi Arabia. I can't imagine that happening. So how can you say we're a Christian country, but everyone's mocking our God on the streets? Ha ha ha. It's on Netflix. Ha ha ha. That's not a Christian country to me. So if you're not a Christian country, then where's the religion? The religion's supposed to enforce certain boundaries. You're supposed to at least show it respect. And it's also kind of interesting because in Christian countries, there's more respect for Islam than there is for Christianity. In a Christian country, name one. They still don't do it with the Islamic prophet. And should God be feared? I'm scared of God. It's the only thing I fear. I fear God. They can put me in jail. I know I'm telling the truth. God's on my side. I fear God. So God should be feared. So once again, does anybody fear the Christian God? I haven't seen anybody scared of him in a long time. And it's kind of crazy because it's very interesting. The mass migration and all these things are leftist policies, but then also Islam is the most right-wing religion on earth. It's kind of very interesting. I grew up in England, and I grew up in Luton, which is a town which is mainly Muslims. It's a huge Islamic community. And there was a bunch of English people who were complaining about there's too much immigration, we're losing our culture, and I understood their point absolutely. But these are the same people complaining about all the left-wing LGBT in schools and all these issues. And I was like, the only allies you have against this are the Muslims. They're the only allies you have in any of this. The Christians don't protest against any of this stuff. The Christians don't. There's very few Christians who will get up off their ass and complain. In fact, I saw on Twitter yesterday, one of the churches was lit up in rainbow. I have nothing against gay people. I don't care. And that's actually another point I want to make into about this thing. I think most people don't care, and I think that bothers them. Have you ever had an argument with a girl, and she's like stropping around the house, she's huffing and puffing, and you just don't give a shit? So she has to keep upping the ante till you eventually go, what's the problem? Because she tried the low-level stuff, and you didn't care. I kind of feel like this has a remnants of that. I'm gay, cool. I want to get married. Fine. I want to wave my dick in your kid's face. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like they tried to annoy us, and we're like, we don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. Be a person. We don't care.
Point.
And then it's like, okay, I'm now raising children. I have more children than most people would believe. How do I protect my children from this insanity? God. Which God can protect my children? Allah, Islam. I'll move them to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, and none of this will happen.
Yang keempat, ia melihat Islam agama yang paling dekat dengan Kristen.
I do believe there is one God, and I believe there's many different paths to God. And I am not a religious scholar, and I'm not an expert on Islam. I'm doing my best, and I'm reading the Quran as often as I can. And it does say that Christians on the day of reckoning will see how close they were to the truth. And we are allies. We are not enemies in any regard, Christians and Muslims. And I do believe that the idea of Christians and Muslims shaking hands and saying, let's put an end to a lot of this garbage would be fantastic.